is Alyssa Persichetti. I am Senior Vice President of Partner Success here at FEVO, which I always like to joke is just a fancy title for meaning I help oversee a segment of our client base. And like I said, it's great to see some of my current clients on here today. A little bit of my background. I actually come from the sports world before joining FEVO, so know all of your guys' jobs very well. I worked with the Oakland A's for 6 years in a combination of marketing and sales roles while I was out there. So got a nice full scope of the organization. But I joined FEVO a little over 4 years ago. And when I accepted the FEVO role, I moved back to the East Coast where I'm originally from. And I currently reside in New Jersey. So I don't know if we have any Jerseyans on the call here. Um, but before I hop into anything flex plans, I wanted to do a little peek under the covers on some new and exciting things that we have going on here at FEVO. And then after we get through all of that good stuff, we'll introduce our panelists for today. So Alon, do you want to go to the next slide? Awesome. So what is FEVO Refreshed? Everyone's probably like, what the heck does that mean? So as everyone on this call probably knows, FEVO has always been the premier group sales tool with incredible use cases. Over the last year, we've layered in so much new technology to our platform, including inventory reimagined, post-transactional codes, bundling, flex plans, and even more. But now with all of those great technology additions, now we're returning to our roots and focusing on the social sharing on our platform and really helping make your offers go viral. So now the question is, how are we doing that? So we can go to the next slide. So first and foremost, a lot of you may have already seen this or gotten some intel from your success rep, but we are releasing some brand new landing pages. These are not only meant to look cleaner, more media rich, and super visually appealing, they're also layering in fan incentives and social sharing into the landing page. As you guys see in this video, our previous landing pages didn't have the ability to see this social tree, but now with these new ones, fans can see in real time who's selling tickets, who's sharing, who's attending the game, which again, back to my original point, is just really gonna help you guys make your offers go viral. In addition to our landing pages, we're also layering in fan incentives. So you're probably thinking, what are fan incentives? This is a way to reward both your fans, your organic fans, and even maybe if you're working with influencers or affiliates, reward them with cash, experiences, and more for selling tickets on your behalf. So again, this will help you guys not only drive organic virality through tier rewards, but also even allow you guys to do cashback incentives to either affiliates, influencers, etc. We have a bunch of teams and a bunch of our music clients really leaning into this already, and we'd be happy to share more information if you guys are interested on this. And then lastly, focusing more on the back end, we're releasing a holistic view of influence revenue that's featured front and center for you guys. So this is all going to be on our new offer dashboard. So it's going to give you a lot faster and simpler reporting that we haven't been able to in the past. So as you guys see in this screenshot, when you guys log in, you're going to get a really great snapshot of how your offers are performing, which ones are overperforming, underperforming. And then in that top right-hand screen, you guys are going to see influence revenue. That means how much money have you guys sold on your FEVO campaigns that is from social sharing? So again, it really gives you guys that insights right away. You can't see it on this screenshot, but we're even enabling conversion data, page views, all to be front and center for you on this dashboard. So like I said, just making the offer reporting a lot more rich and a lot more easy to kind of navigate on the back end. And as a reminder, this will be rolled out league by league as a package, meaning we're going to roll out these 3 new exciting products, product updates to our leagues in a different rollout scheme. But the great thing is if you guys want early access, you can do that 100%. So you guys can sign up to be a beta tester with any of these new features that not only one, give you guys access early, but 2, really help FEVO kind of develop these products with your feedback. And we'll kind of get into some of the benefits of being a beta tester later on in the webinar as well. But with that, I think we can move into all the meat and potatoes of today with flex plans. So, Lexi and Jay, do you guys want to join me? Hello.
Hello.
Awesome. Hi, Jay. Hi, Lexi. Cool. So I'm sure you guys all want a break of listening to me. So I'm now going to pass it over to Lexi, who's, again, another one of our rock stars on the partner success team, who a lot of you guys probably already know, to do her intro. And then, Jay, you can go next.
Hey everyone. Yes, I'm Lexi Desjardins. I have been with FEVO for about 8 years. Similar to Alyssa, I oversee and work strategy with a bunch of different partners. I'm actually in the New England area. I doubt anyone else is from Rhode Island on here, but if you are, hello. Very excited to be here today, and I'll pass it to Jay now.
Thanks, Lexi. Hi, everybody. My name is Jay Carter. I'm the current manager of ticket operations at DC United in Washington, DC.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Do we have a really good, strong East Coast presence on this webinar, which is
Yeah,
great.
nice.
Awesome. Cool. So jumping into what is a FEVO Flex Plan. So I'm going to kind of take it a step back and say, what does everyone think a flex plan is? I know traditionally when I was on the team side before I joined FEVO and before we had this technology, I always kind of saw flex plans as kind of like, oh, you have to do a 10 game, a 20 game package where you're really making fans make a lot of choices up front. So that's kind of what traditionally I've always thought a flex plan is. But again, with this tech, we're actually taking it to make it super customizable for you. And Lexi, I'll let you kind of give a little bit of insight on some of the new updates that we're making with that.
Yeah, thanks, Alyssa. I think that's great. I mean, we can still do your traditional flex plans, 10, 5 game packs. Those are great. But with FEVO's flex plan, to Alyssa's point, it's much more customizable. The other key is it's a self-service tool, so you can really turn these on and off when you're looking to go throughout the season. And then in addition to, you can really leverage those premium games or maybe highlight some really exciting milestone that your team is hitting, whether that be playoffs or in season or anything like that. So we are kind of leveling up the FIVO Flex plan from what those traditional ones have typically been with your 5, 10 game plans that we can layer on top of.
That's great. Thanks, Lexi. And we'll get into this a little bit more today, but you guys are going to see, like, I know flex plan has this connotation, as Lexi just said, like even a minimum of five. You can do a 2 game flex plan where it can be, hey, buy XYZ game and then add on one other game that's less popular. So it really gives you the freedom and the flexibility to build this any way that you want. And I really do want to drive home, and I'm sure Jay will allude to this later on as well. It is self-service. So a lot of the other competitors in this space, you have to reach out, wait on them to build the offer. You guys will see and learn in a lunch and learn as well that you guys can go in, build a FIVO Flex plan, and be done in 5, 10 minutes. So it really gives you guys the freedom to launch these whenever you guys want. And then we can go to the next slide to show a live example. Great. So as you guys are going to see in this video, this is actually a live example of a FIVO Flex plan with one of our partners in the MLS, Charlotte FC. So one of the biggest call outs that I want to show what you guys just saw is the ability to live native on site. So typically when you hit buy tickets on a primary ticketer, you're redirected off of your native landing page. FIVO's drawer will slide out even with our FIVO Flex plan. So it really helps keep it on brand and a lot more fluid for the fan. And as you guys will see here in this video, it's so easy for the fan to go through with the freedom to pick their games. And we don't have to get into it right now, but you guys can do minimums, maximums. So you can build any of that technology in as you guys want. And then once the fan adds those events to their cart, they then are able to pick the seating area they want. So they're not kind of like pigeonholed to just picking a lower level or upper level. You can include as much inventory that you guys want across your entire stadium. And then once I select my inventory, you'll see here, the FIVO API is seating the fans in every single game. So there's no extra work on your end, the ticket ops end to go seat these fans. Everything is done native in the buy flow. I put my email in here, my credit card, and I check out, and I'm instantly able to access my 5, 6, 7 games within my account manager, my pro venue, etc. So really keeps everything fluid for the fan and also easy for you guys to execute.
Awesome. Yeah, now I think what we'll do is, Jay, we're going to talk through your guys's flex plan, but I think before we go through the specific details, let's also take a little bit of a step back. And if you could, Jay, walk us through where you guys came up with the initial plan of your flex plan, from that aspect.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, sure. We wanted to capitalize off the success from our four match plans that we had offered in 2025. And to Alyssa's point earlier, they were the rigid plans that we had. We had 8 matches and 4 match packs that were rigid plans with specific games. And we saw a lot of success in those, but with a bit of a restructure to our membership and plan offerings in 2026, we needed to fill a gap with no longer having those rigid plans, but we wanted something that was super accessible for fans who were not quite ready for a full, swath of benefits, but wanted the ability to attend multiple matches at, a discounted rate, which, the primary reason why we could offer the flex plan. And so that was really driven by our sales team for the option or the need to add that offering to our full ticket offering, and that's kind of how we settled on the idea for a flex plan.
Awesome. Yeah, well, appreciate that context. Yeah, and then you kind of touched on it and alluded to it. How did you cross-functional, and obviously with you being in ops and then marketing and sales, how did you guys collaborate on the launch of it once the idea came to fruition?
Yeah, kind of answered in the first one, but with the shakeup of the package offerings, primarily driven by our sales team, it was on our side to really recommend the best way forward to execute this outside of a two-tiered full season ticket member package that we were offering. We were also launching just a seat pass to where people would get a pass per game. And so there was definitely a gap in the middle ground to where we had a very basic, rigid single seat pass, full offering STM plan, and then we just needed something that would fit that middle ground. So a flex plan to where we were offering, a minimum of 4 games at discount, but anywhere up to 8, 9, 10 games was important to our sales leadership. And so we kind of ended up setting on the flex plan and then got into conversations with you during the site visit on how we could make that happen.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, really appreciate that context. I guess the last question before we dive into the specific offer again, how was leveraging that Inter Miami game a big one when coming to this plan? Because obviously we know that one was an off-site game over in Baltimore for you guys early in the season. So utilizing that, how are you guys able to mix that into the planning as well?
Yeah, great question. In 2025, we hosted Inter Miami here at Audi Field. And so with our standard reduced capacity, about 20,000 seats, it was a hot ticket. And so we didn't really have a need to push Miami in different ways. It's very much, hey, if you want to buy an 8 match plan, Miami is included. If you're a season ticket member, Miami is included. With this year moving to M&T, you know, increasing that that increasing that capacity to close to 70,000 seats, we definitely needed the additional leverage to get Miami to the fans, not only here in DC, but in Baltimore. And so with the Flex Pack, we found that it was that great middle ground, not only to get new fans in, but then enable them to get the Inter Miami game at a reduced price to what they would pay on single and primary market, and what was on resale. And so with last year being the only way to do it was in a plan or resale, this year it was a lot more of an attractive offer to, if you don't want to pay as much on primary, we have a really accessible minimum of 4 match plan with Miami that will get you in at a lower price. And so we were able to capture a lot of new fans that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, obviously new fans is great, but in that as well, when you guys were thinking, and obviously you've walked through the specifics of the plan, but making sure your season ticket members were also happy with not seeing this offer and getting sensitive to that. How did you guys make sure you allow, did that for them as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a point raised for the last couple of years that I was here. But with this flex plan plus our ability in the off season to kind of take a breath and do a reset on pricing as we rolled out the two-tier full season ticket membership, we were to better align our pricing with those full season benefits. And with that kind of pricing baseline, we were then able to find a sweet spot with the flex plan discount that you were getting for buying a minimum of 4 matches, and then the single market. So we were really able to, reset and then have a really defined bracket of what we knew those tickets were going to be going for. And so the pricing ended up kind of being spot on with, um, you know, we weren't undercutting season ticket pricing at all, and they were still receiving benefits that really, quantified the value of their package. So, if they were to see that discount on the flex plan, their benefits still greatly outweighed,
Yeah.
the price discount that they had.
For sure. Yeah, I know it's always sensitive to try and make sure your season ticket holders are still very happy and doing these types of marketing campaigns. So it's always important to keep them in the back of the mind. And then Alon, if we want to move to the next slide, we can just talk through specifically. Jay, thank you for the context and kind of where you guys came up with everything. And now from a FEVO standpoint, if we can kind of dive in a little bit, I think Alyssa and I have really hit on the word customizing the buy flow and making sure it's your own. So if you can just talk us through kind of the differences you've seen in the past of maybe what you've done there to why you preferred the FEVO flow this year.
Yeah, we've traditionally done a flex plan through Ticketmaster account manager, but with the offering from FIVO, we are obviously open to new ideas over here. I think the biggest thing that we ended up pushing FIVO in the end was a combination of one, the kind of plug and play nature, which Alyssa mentioned, and then the timeline that we were on. We had ended up going out with the Inter Miami match and went on sale, shortly after MLS season announcement in December, and that was the only game we were going on sale. So we were running up to the holiday break, and we, had gone over those. We had those pricing conversations and needed to make a decision quickly before that break when our sales reps were out and there wasn't going to be as much physical support. And so, kind of running over the FEVO Flex plan, this is going to be a really good option, not only to customize and provide a seamless buying experience, but then also we were confident that over that break, that the way we could set up the FEVO plan and kind of the ease of the user experience was going to be beneficial to not only buyers, but to our sales and service teams once they got back from break. So it was really, that was kind of um, the I guess the shining light that we ended up going with.
Awesome. Well, yeah, appreciate that context. I think the other thing, and probably my last question on this for you, is similar to you said the buy flow for the consumer. I mean, on the back end, if you could just talk us through the quick setup. I know you and I had jumped on for maybe 5, 10 minutes, and then you were able to kind of set this up within a day or so. The self-service aspect of formalizing this, if you just quick highlights on that, and then we can continue on from there.
Sure. Yeah, the self-service aspect, it was, just like creating any other offer. And so for me, just not having to learn a completely new process to set this up was great. So it was, setting up the flex plan as it was an offer, and then adding that ability to customize your landing page was, being able to do that, and do it almost instantaneously once you guys, sent us over, the instructions was awesome. And then, going into that and the customization of, hey, it looks like a regular offer creation flow for myself as the ticket ops manager. And then, hey, there's a couple added pieces. Hey, this is the easiest way to set up your match tiering. Do you want to separate Inter Miami out to tier one? Do you want to separate another tier A opponent out into a different tier? It was super simple. And so we were confident that we could make those changes on the fly, click save, and then, there's the page, and we were able to test really quickly, and that was able to be a set and forget over that winter break, and we saw some awesome traction there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really good. Key importance is the, limited resources in office that few weeks, but people still having the very easy way of purchasing, and you guys leveraging that schedule release, that Miami game early in the season, and still being able to have people purchase for sure. So yeah, I appreciate that. Anything else, Jay, you wanted to highlight or anything specific from your end? If not, we can kind of go to the next slide.
No, last thing I'd say is we were really happy with how that turned out at a really basic level, but excited of the continued updates that you guys are providing, and then looking forward to almost make our plan a little more complex, or you know build on top of what we did, to continue the success that we've seen. So that's it.
Great.
Awesome.
I actually had one more question for you, Jay. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
I actually really love the piece that you just mentioned about the new data and the new buyers to your database. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, in the past, did you guys see that like this Inter Miami game was probably a lot in the secondary and you're not getting that intel as much? Did you guys like run any like data reports on how many names to database that you guys got from the flex plans?
We were able to reference our previous buyers with the new flex plan buyers. We
Hmm.
saw that there was a need from the buyers um, that apart from those rigid plans that we had had last year, this was more of a success in not only do people want the Inter Miami match at a discount, but the flexibility of being able to then pick those three matches afterwards. Those fans not only had a more pleasant buying experience, but
Hmm.
the scan rate for those games is going to be, marginally higher, because those are actually the games they want to go and the opponents
Yeah.
that they want to see. And so not only are they feeling better about their purchase as fans, then we've started to identify, hey, you know, do these fans have a higher propensity to flip to full season ticket members if that experience is really good for them? So we were collecting data on new Inter Miami buyers, seeing how the match and the price point for entry was, a lot easier to digest. But now we're getting fans that want to go to multiple games, the games of their choice, and it allows us to identify whether they're, you know, more easily going to be converted to full season ticket members in the future.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I never really even thought about that either. It's like a lot of teams will bundle their premium game with like maybe their less exciting games, but like if people don't want that ticket, they're just paying it to go to the premium game. And then again, scam rates are low, their propensity to come back is low. So that's a really good point that with the flexibility, you're just gonna make it a better buying experience and a better fan in the future as well.
I think that also comes with also having that conversation with the sales team on, if we're allowing this flexibility for this flex plan, then, what is our roadmap for promotions to support those games that, maybe lesser attended, or those Wednesday night matches that you might see smaller crowds. So that was also something we really took into account. Hey, we're offering this flexibility, but let's also, this now enables us to also have clear conversations about our promotional schedule, and our single promo offerings for those fans to get them in the door.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And two, to your point about like making it even more complex in the future, like one thing I love about the flex plan flow is like you can do multiple tiers, but you don't have to call it tier one, tier two, tier three. You can literally label it game tier, merch tier.
Yeah.
Like you can literally be as flexible as you want, where you could literally make one tier Inter Miami and the second tier is pick your other game. So
Yeah,
it
I
is
don't want to make it
cool.
complex. I don't want to make it more complex for buyers, but I would like to utilize the features in,
Yes.
in a more efficient way to, optimize is probably the better
Yeah.
word, to optimize the plan. So,
To your
um,
to your point, Jay, you had mentioned promotional ones. A tier could be promotional games, and then a tier
Yeah.
could be non-promotional games. You can really make them whatever you want to that advantage.
yeah. So we're looking forward to, maybe even customizing what we're offering this season for the rest of the year. But then obviously when you get that break to reflect and kind of look back, and refine what you're doing, then, you can always improve on it for next season.
For sure. And we have a few questions in the chat that I don't want to miss. So, Rebecca said, do you know if teams have seen more success with flex plans with current fans or with grassroots? grassroots efforts to bring in new fans. Jay, I don't know if you have anything to add there, or I can also take that one as well.
Um, for us, I think we're still, I think we're still reconciling the data.
Hmm.
The toughest part for us was moving from Audi to M&T, and so the increase in scale at which that event comes on, we are still trying to wrap our head around those numbers and maybe, you know, if there are correlating factors between, we having us returning fans buy those tickets, but having that game being on the single market, we're still trying to see if there is a concrete relationship. But I'm sure you have a couple more case scenarios where teams have seen that increased success.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it. Oh, go ahead, Lexi.
No, I was just going to agree. I think it definitely, we're still learning the data too, to Jay's point. I think obviously this is a newer feature for us as well, but for a lot of the ones that we have done, we actually have seen a lot more new users to the database because I think they do have that easy use of picking which games they want to go to. I think as Jay and Alyssa have alluded to, like if you're stuck in this one game, you may just go to that one game. So being able to pick those two or three games really makes it seem to be a little bit more flexible to the buyer. And so they're coming and they're newer users. But I think we're still collecting some of that data as well as we get more of these use cases and case studies through our teams.
Yep, 100%. And then Nick also asked a question, are the pricing tiers set on the front end no matter the number of games added at checkout? Or is there a feature to offer better discounts to add you as you add more games? It's a great question, Nick, and I think you must like know what our product team is thinking because it is on our roadmap for the future. So not at the current moment, we can't execute this, but something that I'll kind of talk about a little bit later when we're going through some other best practices and other case studies. You can't have multiple flex plans on one landing page, meaning you could do a 2 game, 4 game, 6 game pack all on one page, and then you can say the hey, the pricing is different based on the package. But at the current moment, we don't support as they add more games, the price goes down. But like I said, it's definitely on the roadmap.
For sure.
Um, cool. And then Jay, one more for you before we move on. So sorry, everyone has a lot of good questions. I love this. For an org that is exploring this feature, what changes would you have made to the way you built/sold your flex plan? That is a great question. Oh, you're muted, Jay.
Coming back online, sorry. I that that's a great question. I think to that question's point is we're excited, one, for the ability to flex that pricing in. At the same time, um, we we wish that the Inter Miami game had been, integrated into that flow a little earlier so that we could have captured as many fans as possible and almost you know, given them that tier um, and had it integrated into our flow. And so I think that in the future, um, the ability to change that pricing as we go forward is probably the most desired feature. And so I think you guys have taken that feedback very well. So we're excited that that was kind of the next step.
Great. Thank you, Jay. And like to that point too, and I kind of set it up top, but like just so you guys know, the way that FEVO releases our features is we release phase one, and then we're always working on it and looking to improve it. Because again, like we never know up front what do our partners want, and things kind of come up as features are being used. So really great feedback if you guys are currently using any of these newer features. Please share feedback with your partner success rep, partner support, FIVO training. We love to provide that all to our tech team, and that way we can constantly keep evolving and enhancing our platform. Cool. So I think we can move on. So the science of buying, I promise I won't bore you guys with me talking at you for very long, but this is just a few things that we wanted to hit on and things that we've learned from our partners on ways to make the buying a little bit easier for your fans. So I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the word cognitive fluency. And this basically means is how much effort is the fan exerting when they want to check out? Basically, at the crux of it, as all of us probably know, the less that the buyer has to think, the better. So this means you guys want to make the buy flow as frictionless as possible. And a lot of the things that can do that is one, making the tiers very intuitive, using the best available seating flow in a single checkout flow rather than making the fan pick their seat for every single game. Again, people have 1,001 things going on in their mind. The last thing you want to do them is make them think too much when they're trying to buy tickets or a ticket pack for you. And again, this also really leans into keeping the integration on site rather than redirecting. Again, there's so many different scams out there anymore. I feel like I'm getting a different text from a random number every single minute of the day. When the experience lives native on your site and it's on brand, you don't even see the FEVO name there anymore. It really just leans into the ability for the fan to kind of stay kind of focus on the plan and really trust that their buying experience is what they want it to be. And again, we always want to lean into clarity over ambiguity. Using customizable names like a weekday pack or a weekend pack makes it a lot easier. Again, we always like joke, and I know John Madden on our team loves his always making different analogies, but you almost like want to get away of the Cheesecake Factory where you're going to overwhelm the buyer with so many options. For example, maybe don't offer them the entire season, especially if you're a baseball team and you have 81 games. You really want to narrow down the choices to make it as quick and easy for the fan as possible. And then we can move on there. And then again, this just kind of helps with some clarity in different kind of areas that can make it a lot easier for your fan. For example, if you say pick 5 games and save, you're not telling the story for your fan. But if you say 5 games starting at $100, you're kind of giving the fan the intro part to what they're kind of looking to purchase. And again, build your own plan for great discounts. Very like not clear on what they're looking to buy. Any 2 weekday games for $60. So I really love the ability to lean into the dollar amount in the starting ad amount. And even something as simple as if they're going to save $50, if it's 10% off, say save $50 rather than 10% off. Don't make your fans do math. I know I'm personally horrible at math. So again, just trying to make everything as clear as possible. And that again leans into why FEVO is so great because you can fully customize the entire buy flow.
Yeah, and I think this ties in nicely to what Alyssa was just saying. Keep it simple. The Blackhawks did an excellent job with their 2-pack. So again, very simple, keeping it 2 games in January, and then they were able to highlight that customization again to keep it at $100 for their Centennial pack. So they're celebrating that this year with 100 years and $100 for 2 games. I also like what they did here in the imagery where they said, hey, the Bruins game is included there. You don't have to pick it. You still can customize what you want to pick. And I think earlier we got the question about new fans. As you can see here, there are almost 30% new to the database, which is an amazing new clientele that we did not have previously. And then the last caveat I think that's really important to this flex plan is very simple in the 2 game pack, but they did have different price tiers. So you were able to say, hey, I want to sit in the upper level or I want to sit in the lower level. You do have that ability to still customize what you want, but not overthinking it to Alyssa's, not overdoing too many options, but still giving them the flexibility of picking what they want to do for a price point from there for this case study or for this offer, excuse me.
Yeah, that's great. And I think again, Alon, sorry, I go back really quick. I just think the revenue like speaks for itself. Like $378,000 for a brand new campaign they've never run is astounding. And I know most teams would be very happy with that. So yeah, to Lexi's point, keep it simple. The 2-pack, making the tiers customizable. Again, I feel like this just goes back to what we were saying earlier. A flex plan doesn't have to be 10, 20, 15 games. It can quite literally be a 2-pack or even a game and a merch item. So it really is whatever you guys want to make it. And then I'll just touch on really quick this Toronto Marlies example. I mentioned this a little bit earlier on in the webinar, but this was a really unique one because they did the feature where they had 3 different flex plans live on one landing page. The Ottawa Senators, another one of my clients, did this as well. But for this example, it was really cool. So they did pack 1 was the 2 game starter pack. Pack 2 was pick any 5 games. And pack 3 was the arena pack, AKA pulling in all the different promotional nights. So like Lexi said earlier, like you guys can really make these whatever you guys want and make the tiers flexible. So make sure you are leaning into that and do multiple packs. Not every fan is going to want the same thing. Some fans like weeknight games because their kids can go and enjoy. Some fans only want to go to weekend games. So there's really any way that you guys want to build these, you can and have it live on one native landing page on your site or even redirecting to FEVO.
Yeah, and I think the great thing too, Alyssa, there is like you can start the season with your 5 game, 3 game pack, but then as the season goes forward, you're going to start to know what games may need a little help. Where is there a holiday that falls on one weekend that we need a little help? You can turn these on and off as you need throughout the season, which I think is a great opportunity to have your set packs that you may want to do at the beginning of the year, and then see how certain games may need to be flipped back on for a special 2 pack that you're going to run for a few weeks to get those games highlighted, so and sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
And then moving
Okay.
on to the next slide, Alon.
Yeah, so not an April Fool's. We have exciting lunch and learn on April 1st. It's actually happening. It's no joke. Our training team is excellent. We can show you guys the walkthrough. Obviously, I think the big thing with what Alyssa and I have said on this, and even Jay, self-service. It is very simple to turn on. So join our lunch and learn. You guys can learn the ins and outs of getting this set up and being able to flip these on throughout the season, before the season, very quick and easy. If you have a shutdown in the office for a week like Jay's team did right before the holiday, you can still get these offers on and get sold. But yeah, come join our lunch and learn on April 1st at 2 o'clock.
Awesome. And that's with our FEVO training team, and they're the best at teaching the back end of the platform and will really help you guys make it fluid. And I think we have one more exciting slide to get through on. There we go. So the most exciting slide of the day, probably. As a reminder, FEVO Fest is back for 2026, and we're heading to Vegas. And as the great Jamie Hernandez says it best, get your tequila and orange ready. For this year, we're changing up FEVO Fest a bit, and we're really inviting partners based on 3 different categories. Category 1 is our top 25 fastest growing organizations, meaning what teams are growing the most year over year and leaning into the new FEVO products and really not only upping revenue at their teams, but upping revenue on the FEVO platform. Next is our top 50 highest grossing organizations, aka our top 50 biggest partners. And lastly, my favorite bucket is like the community investment bucket. So this is the bucket where we're recognizing our partners who just go above and beyond by launching innovative campaigns, participating in case studies, attending webinars like today. So all of you guys are on the right path, and being on FEVO panels. And lastly, another really great way to get yourself part of this bucket is being a beta tester for our new tech. So I promised you guys I was going to hit on this later in the day. So being a beta tester means trying out our new products like Flex Plans, like our new landing pages, like our new dashboards, and really giving FEVO the feedback on how we can make it better. And then the most important thing for FEVO Fest, and the only way anyone can go to FEVO Fest, no matter what bucket you're in, is get FEVO certified. So what that means is FEVO has created an amazing FEVO Academy training portal by our onboarding and training team. Anyone that wants to attend FEVO Fest needs to be FEVO certified. So make sure to check that out. We will share that as a follow-up of this webinar as well. And you can always reach out to your success rep if you have questions. And again, tracking is already underway. So you guys can already start becoming FEVO certified and getting into one of these buckets. And like I mentioned, you can reach out to your partner success rep or OTE if you guys have any further questions on how to join us in Vegas. But with that, I think this is a great way to end the training on a high note. Thank you guys all so much for joining. We really appreciate you guys listening and learning. And thank you so much, Jay, for sharing all of your great knowledge and all of your insights on your FEVO Flex plan. And we will see you guys on the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.